frankly, I'm really impressed and appreciate on the statement of Bapak Lembong, which just mentioned before, which highlight the importance of investment for the human knowledge and skills. As we are from the university, we have a responsibility to do that process of investment. And regarding the complexity of the global change, we do consider that university itself may not be quite capable to do the responsibility without the support of the industry. However, we do consider that in Indonesia, the linkage between university and industry has not yet really what we expected. So I would like to ask your views on, especially related to the concrete action, what suppose we conduct together, as now we learn there are more and more industry develop their own university instead of join together with the university to develop better future. So we do need your views and how we suppose to develop together in order to support the economic, the knowledge-based economic development. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Karnawati. I think what I feel compelled to say first is, as part of President Jokowi's mindset revolution, revolusi mental, another thing we have to abandon for good is this fear, ironically, yeah, of what we call KKN, right? KKN, collusion, corruption, nepotism. And here's what I mean, right? I think Ibu Rektor put it very well. We actually need university and private sector or industry to partner.
Right.
I would actually go further and say we also need government and business to partner, right? I think, but since the economic crisis of 1997-98, right, you know, we're very touchy about private sector or business being too close to government or being too close to academia, for example, right? Like we're worried that, you know, there'll be collusion or what have you. But frankly, all this pretense, you know, pretending that we're not close, has not really helped to reduce corruption, right? We still have very high level of corruption, even though we pretend or try to, you know, keep a distance. But the fact of the matter is, I agree with Ibu Rektor. More than ever before, we need close partnership, close cooperation between industry and academia, industry and government, right? And I think how do universities have to adapt, right? In fact, not just university, government have to adapt. I think, you know, again, I know this sounds or risks sounding quite cute or glib, but it does come down to mindset. And I really, really believe it comes down to mindset. I think, you know, we have to ditch our shame.
Right.
Right? Nggak usah malu-malu, right? I think just try new things, try different things. You know, I like to say that I personally believe one of President Jokowi's secret weapons is his humility, right? So he's not ashamed, right? He doesn't have pride or, you know, worry about looking silly if he tries something, it doesn't work. You know, so we do need a more pragmatic attitude where, look, just try this, doesn't work, okay, fine. Try something else. Or, okay, we tried this, didn't work, but we can fix it. So let's fix it, right? So I think Yeah, I think to make all these things work, getting the proper investment into human skills, getting the proper investment into human health,
Right.
Into social capital.
Right.
I think we have to begin to abandon a lot of taboo,
Right.
right, and just just get on with it.
Right.
Now, I wanna say something pretty interesting. The victory of Trump is a devastating criticism of the liberal,
Liberal class.
liberal class in the following way, right? Especially liberal multiculturalism, right? And I think it's an especial rejection of what in America we call political correctness, right? You cannot be too religious. You're not allowed to be too religious.
Right.
You're not allowed to say certain things or use certain names or what have you. And I think what I see is, even among our young, people actually want to be religious. People actually want to have a strong identity, right? And they want people to respect the right to have that strong identity, right? And I don't necessarily think that means less tolerance, right? They're, if anything, more indifferent, like they care less about what other people's identity is, right? But they want to have the freedom, right, to have a strong identity, right? So again, I think these are some of the cross currents which we're having to monitor. I mentioned earlier, I see the biggest risk being in politics right now.
Right.
And again, I think where academia can help is clear-mindedness, right? A very clear, somewhat organized view, right? Look, this is actually,
The way to go.
yeah, the way to go. Yeah.
Okay, Nick, yes.
Thank you. My name is Nick Pryor from Deloitte and work in infrastructure. Fascinating comments. I'd like to ask your views from a slightly different hypothesis. What I think is one of the most fundamental challenges that just about every economy, be it developed, developing, immature, whatever, is facing right now. And I actually think one of the reasons for, sorry, a bit of a ramble before a question, if that's okay.
No worries. It's a fireside chat. We're rambling. Yeah. We're all rambling, me too.
The primary reasons I think for the political earthquakes, as you rightly described it, is not so much a rejection of the liberalism. I think it's much more about a rejection of the status quo. I think politicians and the construct of political parties are not adapting for today's age. A lot of the debate is about social issues, exactly as you say, but what they have not found is the economic solutions that affect, and you alluded to it, I think in a very articulate fashion, that the gap between the 10, and you talk about 60 to 80% of have-nots, it's possibly even larger than that. The economic solutions that the politicians are finding are just not addressing the vast majority of the populations, which is resulting in this gap between have and have-nots getting increasingly wider. And I thought it was really interesting, your comments around populist investment, around investment in healthcare, education. But I worry that unless there's an economic construct, and I don't know what that is, which is why I'm asking the question, is what can politicians, governments do to try and almost reduce the pace of this change between the gap between the have and the have-nots, and then to try and sort of arrest it and bring it back to bear, whereby we have a sustainable solution going forward, which, quite frankly, we don't have at the moment, which is resulting in these rejections of the status quo and the electing of individuals who many of us, for many reasons, find quite bizarre. Looking forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. You're teeing up for me very nicely my personal passion, which is, investing in what is called the bottom of the pyramid by the legendary economist from India, C.K. Prahalad, right? He came out with this book, which is potentially still my favorite economics book, called The Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. Nick, it's a bit puzzling for me too. You ask, what can policymakers do to address widening income inequality, to address this feeling of social inequality and so on? I mean, to me, it's actually pretty simple. It's affordable childcare. It's maternal health, like prenatal, neonatal, prenatal, postnatal, neonatal health. It's healthcare systems that are, as President Jokowi said many times in cabinet meeting, focus on wellness, not on cure, right? There used to be this English saying, 1 ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? It costs 10 cents to prevent illness. It takes $1 to cure illness. So prevention is much better, much more sensible than, waiting until people are sick and then trying to cure them. I think, investment in elementary school, well, in kindergarten, elementary school, so a few things. Human brain development. 70 to 80% of it takes place while you're in the womb, right? When your mother is pregnant with you, and then by the age of 5 or 6. So that's a very critical period, right? That's when our brain is shaped, our bodies are shaped, and that stays with you for the rest of your life. So I think investing in maternal health, prenatal, neonatal, postnatal is a no-brainer. Same with other neurological development, like early childhood education, kindergarten. Kindergarten is very, very important to me, and kind of elementary school until elementary school class 4 or 5, right? That sort of exposure is really what creates your destiny. Wellness, I'll give you a parallel example from the United States. 2/3 of Americans are medically classified as overweight or obese, right? And unfortunately, it's almost like the constellation of business interests is geared towards that, right? So there's lavish agricultural subsidies, including to corn farmers. So what's called high fructose corn syrup is very cheap, so that goes into sugary sodas, into snacks and junk food that makes people overweight, right? The pharmaceutical companies love it because once you're overweight, you have diabetes, high blood pressure. They can sell you lots of cholesterol-lowering drugs and diabetes drugs, which, if you get sick like I am right now, you might take antibiotics for like a week. That's it, right? But if you have high blood pressure and high cholesterol, you'll take those medications for forever, for decades, every single day, every single week, every single year, for decades on end. It's a great business model. The media companies love it because you become a couch potato, yes, right? Like, it's so hard to be active, physically active, so you just plop yourself on the sofa and flip channels or watch TV. So there's this very strange constellation of corporate interests where, the ultimate goal is to make you overweight, very sick, so the pharmas can sell you more medicines, and the healthcare sector has more customers, right, paying more and more for treatment. So that's sort of where, arguably the model has gone off the rails. Now, in Asia, including Indonesia, we have an opportunity to avoid that sort of outcome. This is why I think President Jokowi is very down-to-earth, practical, healthy common sense, what we call akal sehat. Right? Does this actually make sense? Right? Look, stop and think. Does this make sense? Right? So, investing in healthy lifestyle, active lifestyle, good nutrition. So it's very basic stuff. And ironically, I believe when people, if policymakers were to roll out such solutions, they would be massively popular, right? Now, why do policymakers don't do it? I would say inertia, Doing those things takes a lot of work. It's a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of, you would have to really care a lot about your people. You would have to have such tremendous love for your people to put yourself through, through that much hard work and pain to roll out such policies. It's much easier, right? It's much easier to give people subsidies or to, put your signature to some protectionist regulations and then say, see, done. I've done my job, I've protected my people, I'm done. Right? Now let me jump on my private jet to Davos and hang out with my other elites, right? So it's just a very different calling. It's just a very different kind of policymaker that will, do the hard work of rolling out city by city, province by province, what are those supplements for pregnant women? I forget now, but but basically, like supplements for pregnant women, like folic acid. Thank you. Like going city by city, province by province or district by district, making sure that good programs are working to get folic acid supplements to pregnant women, right? Like make sure there's good hygiene, hand washing habits, like, okay, what are people eating, right? Explain to the public, we need to get away from focusing on calories to focusing on nutrition, right? Again, it's much easier to go on and on about, here's free rice. Here's free rice, here's free this. Look how much rice we're distributing. In the meantime, people are just getting overweight and sick. So again, it's just a lot of hard work. So I think the people need to elect leaders who really love their people a lot and willing to put in a lot of hard work and sacrifice to do what's good for the people.
Okay, thank you very much. Wow, so many questions. I think we'll take 3 more.
I have plenty of time, actually.
Tiku, and then the gentleman in the front, and then the lady at the back.